And she was kind of making fun of me. She's like, yeah, but you do it at all the wrong damn time. She's like, I hear a noise and your ass is sleeping through the whole thing. We're up.
Right.
Cool. Real quick, I want to say what's up to the old YouTubes.
All right.
They're over there.
All right.
It's different. Instead of here, they're there.
They're there.
They're there.
What's up, YouTubes?
What's up, guys?
Yep. Very excited about this.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast in the YouTube world. So a lot of you guys have been asking about the podcast. When is it coming? It's finally here. The first one's going to drop tomorrow morning, but this isn't live, so that doesn't mean anything to you.
So it's dropping tomorrow.
Dropping tomorrow morning.
So that'll be on the YouTubes?
On the YouTubes.
Okay. And then we're going to be going to like podcast and Stitcher and all the other, Stitcher? And Spotify, all the other stuff.
Yep. All that stuff's going to be
coming soon.
It should be up like now. It's up. Meow.
Do we have some episodes that are out? We do. He does. Love it. Come on, man. All right.
I mean, I just looked it up on iTunes. It's live. We are hot to trot.
So basically, I've been dropping the ball, is what you're telling me. I need to get out there and subscribe. Make sure that I know it. All right. Well, good.
Welcome to your own podcast, kid. Thanks for coming.
Hey, make sure you get closer to the microphone there, Buck. Well, hey, let's kick this off. This is the F&G podcast, where a Green Beret trains an F&G with
Buck the Green Beret
and KDH. I am obviously the F&G here, and so Buck, I wanted to start off just with a quick question for you. You know, your birth name is not Buck. Yeah, but it was a nickname that was given to you.
It was.
We've heard the story,
yep.
But I want to find out. You know, growing up as a kid, you know, playing sports, doing different things, hanging out with different folks. You know, boys like to give each other nicknames. What's the worst nickname you were ever given?
Did you asked me that? I don't know, man. I wasn't. I told you in order to get a nickname that you tend to be, you gotta be liked.
You gotta be liked.
A nickname is a sign of, you know, kind of a sign of respect, unless it's like, you know, really foul. But
okay. Was there one that you liked that, you know, you got traction or didn't get traction or, you know, whatever?
Buck was the first nickname I think I've ever been given. And it was stupid the way it happened. I imagine that all nicknames were, but
right.
I walked into the team room and the acting team sergeant was there. His nickname's Chesty.
Okay.
So if that gives you an idea of kind of the scale this guy was at. I mean, Chesty, if you're listening to this, you're a douche and you know it's okay. We're still friends.
All right.
But
it's one way to show love.
Yeah. I mean, he's just funny. You know, he's a typical like Bravo knuckle dragger kind of guy. And he walks in and he's like, "What's your name?" And I was like, it's Sean Rogers. Sorry. And he's like, "Rogers, like Buck Rogers." And I was like, wow, that's pretty hilarious. Yep, just like Buck Rogers. And then all of a sudden, the whole fucking team started calling me Buck. I was like, damn it.
Oh, that is.
So I guess that, yeah.
It just kind of sticks.
It's stuck, and now it's stuck, and now I run with it, and it wasn't meant to be that way.
All right. Well, you know, it's funny because when I somewhere in high school, I was working at a camp one summer, and you just got to remember now, this is the 80s, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, wearing polo shirts, popping the collar, doing all that. And I used to have these, I don't know if they were Oakley or what, but they were these big, they were Revos, white rimmed sunglasses.
Steve, what the fuck is a Revo? Do you know that?
It's a brand of sunglasses, mostly for skiing and stuff. And so I got this nickname of Hollywood.
Ooh.
And that was not a name that I liked. I did not like that name at all. So we'll definitely let that one go. But, you know, it's kind of interesting in jiu-jitsu, a couple of people, and this has actually been one of my favorite. It doesn't get used all the time, but it's been used a few times. And you were asking about the figurines, and, you know, Stephen asked, you know, what would be your figurine if you loved it? And it was this, one of my favorite nicknames of all time, Morpheus.
Okay. All right, that ain't bad. I get a hit on Morpheus.
All right. So anyway, hey, we're gonna go deep today. You know, we've had some fun conversations on different things. We talked about goal setting. We've talked about, you know, different selection, you know, preparation, different things like that. You know, getting your mind right, getting your heart right, and everything else. But you know, we're gonna go a little deep and dark today, and we're gonna spend some time talking about PTSD. And you know, something that you experience.
Oh yeah.
And you're walking this journey right now.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we've talked a little bit about it, but you know, you shared something yesterday, just a symptom that gosh, to be honest, you know, it just shows that I am the F&G, that I didn't even know. I didn't even imagine this. So you talked about being able to sleep through the night, like for the first time. So talk a little bit about that. And because I think what's going to happen is as you share your story, there's going to be more guys go, shit, man, I do the same thing. And it's going to give them some hope and some comfort as well.
Yeah. So with the sleeping thing, I mean, sleep is tough when you have PTSD. And what we were talking about yesterday is like, for the first time in a long time, I have my mind, when I hear a noise in the house, it's almost always the dogs, right? But usually it doesn't matter what the noise is. When you wake up, and this happens for me anyway, like 4 to 5 times a night, it's the heart rate goes through the roof immediately. Like there's no time to just be like, oh, it's probably this or it's that. It's just immediately heart rate jacks through the roof, and I'm jumping for my gun, and then I'm clearing my house. And I would clear my house like 3 or 4 times a night. And I just thought that's just me being, a little hypervigilant, but at the same time, it's not anything abnormal. And it wasn't until, I stopped doing law enforcement and I started, it taken about 2.5 months. And I started to realize that when I hear noises now, I'm starting to have a slightly different reaction. And I'm starting to, instead of my heart rate just shooting through the roof, I'm starting to think through it in a way that's not like, I got to go, it's like game time right now.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to notice that, as the stress kind of pulls back a little bit, there are some positive changes. And one of those is I'm not clearing my house 4 times a night.
Wow. How, I'm assuming you and Pam sleep in the same room.
Yeah.
How does she respond to that?
She's used to it.
Okay.
And, and it's funny because I talked about it with her after we filmed the jiu-jitsu vlog yesterday. And she was kind of making fun of me. She's like, yeah, but you do it at all the wrong damn time. She's like, I hear a noise and your ass is sleeping through the whole thing. And she's like, and then all of a sudden it's like, I don't hear anything and you're jumping around, grabbing your guns and clearing the house.
Yeah.
And she has, faith in me, and I'm not like putting my family in danger. Like I'm there and I'm, aware of what I'm doing. My heart rate is just jacked through the roof, and I have to make sure that my family is safe before I could get it to come back down and go back to sleep. So, I'm not running through like full out fucking freaking out, but I'm clearing my damn house, and I'm double checking all the locks on the doors, and, and I'm making sure everything's good before I go back to bed. Cause, if someone comes into my house, you want to be the aggressor, you don't want to be the victim, but I have to understand at some point that that's far overboard, and that's a huge cause of PTSD.
Yeah. And, for a lot of us that don't have that background, maybe the closest that we've had recently, I think it was American Sniper with Bradley Cooper. Is that what it was? Mm-hmm. And I remember he comes home, after he has a, pretty intense, environment in the Middle East. And he's literally just staring at a screen, and then he'll hear something, then he, hears a dog barking, and, and his reactions, are totally over the top from those of us that haven't had that experience. Is that real? I mean, is that some of the stuff maybe you've experienced as well?
It's 100% real. And this is, and I talked to my buddy Tom about it a lot. This is the issue that veterans face, is that you're on a team, whether it's a SEAL team or a Green Beret team, whether you're Delta, whatever team you're on, you're getting after it. You guys are all going through the same experiences. So you're all normalizing each other. And that's the problem. So it's like, well, you don't sleep at night. I don't sleep at night. Oh, you get home and smash like 5 beers just to calm down. Well, I do the same thing. So nothing's wrong. Then you go out and all of a sudden you're a civilian. At some point you're going to be a civilian. And, that's scary for a lot of vets, because, whether you like it or not, your day's coming. The military isn't going to keep you forever. And you go, and then all of a sudden you're next to civilians, and you get hit in the face real hard, real fast with all the ways that you are not normal. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it's like overwhelmingly intense and terrifying. And you have to start looking at your own problems like, holy shit, I have some real issues. And what do I do about this? And I think that's why we lose a lot of veterans, is because they don't know what to do about it. And, they're not geared, they're not taught to go seek therapy, like they didn't even know they had a problem.
Right.
So
it's just what everybody does.
It's just what everybody does. It's so normal on a teams to do that.
And I mean, it's just that confirmation bias, you know, as you know, like as YouTube, you know, continues to, you know, upload more videos that are, you know, affirm all the other things you've been searching on there. You know, and even guys coming back from just deployment, they're still active duty, but they, you know, they've been deployed, you know, overseas, and they get out of the sandbox and here they are back home, but it's still a different world, even if they're on base.
Yeah. And, you know, and when I finally did start talking to the psychologist about it, you know, she's explaining the breakdown on why it's happening. And it, you know, it feels good to hear that there's like data that supports the physiological and psychological changes that are happening. She's like, your cortisone levels and the constant state of feeling like you're going to die and being hypervigilant, it's not meant to be long periods of time like that. And that's why law enforcement and, you know, military have issues. If you have a spike, you know, where someone assaults you or you're in fear of something happening, it's that spike, but then you come back down. That's the way it's supposed to happen. But the problem is we're in these environments where it's a steady, you know, high level of anxiety for long periods. And that's where you start having like real psychological and physiological changes. And then all of a sudden you're getting slapped with those and having to face it. And that's a hard thing to face. You know, that's like shoving things in the closet for years. And then all of a sudden you have to open the door to clean it and everything just falls on you and you're completely covered in years of trauma and stress.
Well, and I know you were talking to Chris yesterday and he was, you know, sharing, you know, from the law enforcement side as well that, you know, you had that traumatic event on the streets and then their cortisol levels, you know, go to 10 and it just doesn't come down to normal level. It actually has to go well below and, you know, almost depressed, you know, there, or you're pounding 5 beers or you're, you know, taking a handle and getting after it or whatever it is. And then it takes, you know, a little bit of time to get back. Well, you know, when you're deployed, next action, you know, hey, we're going back out today.
Yeah.
And so the half-life of all that just continues to compound. And then your body gets used to it at some level. And then it thinks that's, you know, that's homeostasis. That's where we need to be.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, you hit this homeostasis and you think you're good.
Yeah.
And then you could ride that for years. And that, you know, at some point, you know, the floor falls out from underneath you and that's where it gets bad.
Well, let me shift gears a little bit for you. And I don't want to put, you know, Pam necessarily on the hot seat here, but what are some things that you see that maybe spouses do or don't do that, you know, maybe there's some very helpful things that they do or they don't, because, you know, they don't understand. They're not there. They haven't been looking through your eyes that whole time. They've just been holding down the fort, taking care of the kids, you know, household, all that.
Yeah.
But what are some things that spouses can do and not do? Because sometimes just asking questions, it's kind of hard. Right. Many times you don't even want to answer the question.
Yeah. So for what Pam does that I'm super grateful for is she first of all, she's just so okay with it. And but at the same time, she acknowledges where I have issues and the things that are abnormal. And she just kind of like casually just lets me know. And she's like, yeah, you're kind of, you know, doing this. You're jumping out of bed like 5 times last night. You know, that's more than usual. So, hey, you just know that's happening. So she acknowledges that there's a problem, but not to put it in my face and not to use it against me, but to like, it like, I don't know, it makes it feel real because it kind of like we were talking about before. It's like you have these, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like you can't face it until you accept that it's something that's actually there.
Yeah.
And she makes it real in a way that's comforting to me. And I don't know exactly how she does that, but she's found a way to do that. And, you know, it makes me feel good because it's like, I know that I actually have problems and that I'm not just, you know, a bad person or something.
Yeah. So instead of just coming at you, you know, with guns blazing, going, dude, what the hell, man? You're interrupting my sleep. Don't you understand? I'm pregnant, you know, and I got all these funky, you know, hormones things going on and my appetite's all jacked up and I'm hot or whatever. You know, instead of coming at you like that, she goes, hey, you know, do you even realize?
Right.
And, you know, to steal a little bit from your book, you know, I think what she's doing is she has been pointing out what the dragon is. Because many times, at that moment, you may not have even noticed that it was a dragon, but now all of a sudden you go, wow, damn.
Exactly.
This is a dragon.
No, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
And and that's exactly what she does, and it's awesome. And I love her for it. And yeah, and that's huge for spouses. Is like, don't try not to anyway. Shove it in their face and like they're not going to just like a veteran's just not going to be able to fix this.
Yeah.
This is something they're going to have for the rest of their life. So as a spouse, just know that that's them. That's them.
Yeah.
And, and they have to work to keep it under control. But that's who they are now.
Yeah. Well, and one of the ways to go wrong on that would be, and it comes more from the tone that they bring, which comes across more nagging.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, did you realize you woke me up, 5 times last night? Okay. A total different tone than, man, hey babe, you all right, man? Yeah. Kind of got up a lot last night.
Yeah. You were at 3 times, last night was like 5 times, like, hey, just so you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a good way to approach it, because we do have to acknowledge that it's there.
Yeah. And I think you would agree that one of the greatest tools that we have is one another, and being a band of brothers, and being able to come along some of the guys that are just a few steps down the road from you, go, dude, like, am I all right?
Right.
Hey, here's what's going on.
Yeah, and to add on to that, if you let me just give you more symptoms, right? So we talked about one, which was I wake up a lot at night, grab my gun and clear my house. But there's a lot. So if you're a veteran and you're experiencing any one of these things, then you have PTSD. And I think or even if you're law enforcement, I think the first step is acknowledging that you have PTSD. Don't shove it in a closet and kick the can down the road, because it's only going to get worse. And there's nothing wrong with having PTSD. You're not a psychopath. You're not gonna, you're still you. You just have something extra, from sacrificing. So people getting close to you and getting in your personal space causes you to think of ways to physically harm them. You want to get them away. Things are very personal. So if someone cuts you off on the highway, instead of thinking, oh, maybe they're in a hurry, or they did that to you personally, and you want to, run into them with your car. And these are the things that go through your head. And you have to stop thinking that you're just this evil person. It's like, no, you got some baggage. And the sooner you accept that baggage, the sooner you could start acknowledging that these are not real, like these aren't true emotions compared to where you should be, that they're elevated. So, people getting in your space, you're very sensitive to, personal conflict, and it's easy to get angry about things that someone else wouldn't think is a big deal. The drinking to try and calm down, poor sleep. There's all these symptoms. I mean, every vet probably just checked off all those blocks. They're probably just like, yep. Look yourself in the mirror and say you got PTSD. That's the first step. Yeah. And it's okay.
I mean, when you start feeling like you're the target all the time, driving down the road, oh, they're targeting me.
Yeah.
That would be a telltale sign. And then, once you, have that conversation, then now, with yourself, now it's time, to either go get professional help, get some of your brothers around, and really just open up the closet and let's start talking about it. Let's start dealing with this. And I could be wrong, but I don't think it's gonna be like one therapy session, or one night of beers with the guys.
No, you're not getting away from it. It's who you are now. So what you have to do is change your perception of what is happening and why. So instead of that person cuts me off, oh, they think I'm a punk. They think that they don't know what I'm capable of. Mm-hmm. Like I could shoot out their top. We can go down a negative mental role of what would happen in that scenario when they piss you off. Instead, realize in that moment when you're heated and your blood's boiling and you want to react and be like, okay, this is my PTSD is kicking in. Because I have PTSD, I'm taking this a little harder than most people would, and then start to bring yourself back down. And is when you start adding, okay, this is my PTSD, then you're able to transition your thoughts from the speed, surprise, violence of action that you were trained to have into a normal civilian mindset of that guy probably didn't mean to do that. Maybe he didn't see me, and it's difficult, especially when it comes to your personal space. And believe it or not, being in a vehicle still feels like your personal space.
Mm. Well, another kind of shameless plug for the book that'll be coming out. Maybe after the first of the year. But, you talk about the dragon, and you talk about, you can't kill the dragon.
Mm-mm.
It's always going to be part of you. But you can begin to use and harness that energy. And so, I don't know how else to say it, but, some of the benefits that you find of being able to, of having PTSD and how you're using that energy, okay, those whatever chemicals are going on in your body, you're learning to channel those in a different direction that are helping you.
Absolutely. I mean, this is it right now. For the guys watching on YouTube, for the guys listening, I'm using the PTSD. Like you're talking to me now about PTSD, and we're putting it out there. I'm using the energy, the nervous energy that comes from always being on my toes, that I just don't stop hustling. I'm always pushing for the next thing. I'm always trying to get the next goal. And it's translated really well in my life to a lot of success. So, like you said, in the book, we go over in details, like nothing bad ever comes out of your life without having, an equal or even more good attached to it. So that's the PTSD. It helps me. It's given me a message. It's given me a platform. My experiences, it's all given me this platform to help people. And honestly, I've never been so happy until I started trying to help people. Mm. These guys hit me up on YouTube, and they say comments like, "Oh man, this is gold. Like I can't thank you so much for, putting this information out there for me. I want to get selected. I want to be a Green Beret." And they're so psyched that someone is giving to them what they feel like they need. There's no greater feeling. So good. Literally my purpose has now stemmed from all the trauma and the pain of our past.
Well, and I mean, you basically took what was a total mess and you turned it into your message, and so here it is right now, and you're now using that to be able to serve so many people and provide great value. So what are some other thoughts? Any final thoughts just on this and PTSD and like your journey?
So yeah, if someone calls you that's been through war, if you're one of your war buddies calls you, I'm not a social person, but you need to answer the phone. If they need to have beers, a buddy called me from the police department, and he had a hard time. He witnessed something to a child, and it stuck with him, and he had a really hard time dealing with it. And so when he's like, "You want to have a beer?" The answer is yes. Am I busy right now, and is this a bad time? Yes, it is. But you know what? I have to be there for you. And that's how we stop, or at least we rein back the suicides. Because there's nothing more heartbreaking than a veteran who defeats the enemy in battle and then comes and loses to the enemy in his mind. Mm. So if someone has PTSD and they're suffering from anxiety and depression and all these things, which if they have PTSD, they likely have that at some form, in one way or another, they are dealing with that. Then just reach out to them and be there for them. And do your best, man, because we got to stop losing vets to, PTSD.
Well, and I'll tell you this, and you'll definitely talk much more intellectually about this, but, if military, law enforcement, firefighters, they probably have some level of PTSD.
Yep.
Okay, no matter what.
Yep.
And guys mask it. Mm-hmm. I mean, guys general, girls too, they mask it in different ways. And, part of our responsibility, one of the things that we can do is reaching out and just understanding that this is most likely what you can do. And one of the things that I've done, with a handful of you guys that, I get to share life with is it'll just be a text message every once in a while. Mm-hmm. Hey man, just thinking of you, just praying for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, be safe this weekend, with all the crap that's going on right now. And I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've sent out just a short little text like that. And I was just thinking about him. Maybe I was praying for him. I was, whatever's going on. And, I get back a message, man, I don't know. You have some psychic hotline into my life. You watching me or what? No, just thinking of him.
Yeah.
And just how special that makes you feel.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, good. YouTube's. Here we are. On the YouTubes? Okay. Hey, keep subscribing there. Make sure you give a thumbs up there. Hit the notification bell also on the YouTube so you'll see when the videos pop up. Got, selection information coming out all the time. Love all that. And the podcast is now live, and so people will be able to get that as well.
Ready to go.
Hey, if people want to connect with you, Instagram's still the best way?
Yeah, so Instagram is Sean Buck Rogers, and YouTube, you could search FNG Academy, and that'll come up, and these will be on there, and the videos are just getting better and better, so.
Good. And I love what you're doing on the editing. It's so much fun. Hey guys, one quick thing though. If you want to, maybe you have a subject or some, question, shoot Sean Buck a message on the Instagrams, or, comment on the YouTube there. Leave a comment. Hey, will you cover this or something like? Love to cover any of those subjects as well. Right?
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Hey, have a badass day, and don't be an F and G like me.